Look fly. What's up, machine freaks? It's fall. I busted out the Carolina boots. Oh, you bet. They're both insulated and steel toes. Yeah! That means I can go really fast on this thing and not have to worry about my feet getting damaged. Well, or broken. I'm really sorry that I left you on the edge yesterday, but the truth is I didn't have a spark plug, and when I went to the parts store this morning, they didn't have a spark plug either. Luckily, they're getting it in by 3:30 today, which is just about any minute, which is nice. I like that. That carbureted. I said that carbureted life. I wanted to mention and apologize for leaving you guys on the edge, but I mean, even if I went to the parts store yesterday, they wouldn't have had it anyways, so it's funny how sometimes things just work out. I mean, I'm not a fortune teller or a mind reader, but if I was, I'll tell you what, I would take complete advantage of it. I would have already won the lottery, and I'd be driving around in Lambos and have 16 houses and probably plane or jet or something. But unfortunately, I'm not. I'm just a kid from New York, Western New York, not even New York City, that messes around with stuff like this. But I love it. It's the best. Well, maybe not a lot of people think that, but I think it's the best. The game plan. We're gonna spray some 2-stroke gas into the cylinder directly down its throat. Well, actually, maybe not down its throat, maybe more like it's... I know that's disgusting, but that's just the facts. Brand new spark plug. We got an NGK because this thing's European. Am I not doing this right, or is this just not threading in? There we go. Very, very tight tolerance. If my predictions are right, this thing probably won't run at all. We gotta try. Come on! Told ya!
Tied the ends of the guitar strings to clavage used for Latin American rhythm. And then he approached his victims from the rear, looped the wire. As we jazz lovers say, this routine is murder.
The socket really doesn't want to go on. Now, some word of advice, if something doesn't want to go on, don't force it. Just lightly encourage it to go on. Good job. I hope I can get that off. Now this nut should be a left-handed thread, which means that it's actually threaded backwards when comparing to a regular bolt. The air compressor doesn't have any air in it. No, it was a regular thread. That's why you don't just sit there and you don't just let that thing try to force it the wrong way. You do a little bit that way and then a little bit that way. See which one gives first. Now I have to slightly encourage this flywheel to come off. Slightly encourage. It's not slightly encouraging. I guess I'm going to have to get another tool out. A more dangerous tool. Does that sound like that would feel too good? You can do it. You can. There we go. Now, believe it or not, but this bike is not a 2016 or a 2017, so this thing has a points and condenser system. And what that means is just old school, and it's got to be timed instead of just bolted in. Nowadays, this system is just a bolt-in system. Usually not an adjustment. I mean, sometimes you have to gap them, but these things right here, there's two of them. These things are called the points, and they separate and they close together. That's causing our spark problem. When they're open, it does spark. So what you need is a fine, well-timed machine. Over the years, this thing goes out of whack, so we gotta readjust it. So I'm just going to put a piece of sandpaper in here and drag it across the two surfaces. I plugged the wires from the other side in. Now I want to test the spark. I have not tried this yet, so this will be a surprise for both of us. I don't see any spark. Chickadee, check this out. Booyah! I like the fact that this doesn't have a recoil. A recoil is like your lawnmower. I'll explain what a recoil is in a second. Let me just try this. Woohoo! That's awesome! This is the first time it's actually sputtered. Okay, I don't think the carburetor's working right. We got spark, now we need gas. This is a recoil, and that brass looking piece is the flywheel. And when you're working on stuff like this, the flywheel sits under the recoil, so you always have to put everything back together so that you can pull it and turn the engine over. Where this, I like it because you can have this thing in a whole bunch of different pieces, and since the pedal goes through the engine, you don't need to have all that crap, all that stuff on it. Now what I think's going on is there's no fuel going into the carburetor because the seat gas should flow. It is not flowing, which means we have a clog. Hopefully I cleaned out whatever was giving the carburetor a problem. Not so good. Sometimes stuff gets caught a little bit, so a little vibration does some stuff. And then we'll give her a little bit of a drink. That was pretty awesome. Good news is it runs, which means we're getting air, spark, and fuel. Bad news is it sounds like there's a ratio wrong, which means A, there's too much air, B, too much fuel, but I'm very excited that it runs. Maybe it was getting too much air, so hopefully that air restricts some of that. Pretty good. Are you kidding me? and the bike's over there, and it's still running. And like a top. It's awesome.
Very simple.